Okay, you guys, this is going to be part 2 or part 3 of the prologue, actually, because it split the other recording in two. We have quite a bit to go through before I end with what I have translated.
Presented by Quinrose.
Okay, so we are going to check to see if we can load where we were at. Yay! Alright, cool. Load. And he had just told her that it's not possible anymore for him to explain, and she's like, I don't want to be in the air with you, and you're like, going to vomit. So she's like, Lies, you can slow down, so keep us safe. He's like, I'll do my best as much as I can to try to get us down safely without, like, getting her dirty. And she's like, Nightmare has a fluffy, no, a lazy feel. There is only a bad feeling from him, she said. She mentions that as soon as Nightmare begins to fall down, we begin to descend rapidly, and she's like, it's the second fall of today. She just, like, is exclaiming in surprise. She's like, ah. She thinks to herself, I totally thought I would die, ... And she said that we safely descended to the mushroom forest. No, it's better to say that it was an emergency landing, and it was at great speed as we fell, but a large mushroom group became a cushion. She's like, we were saved. It was almost as hard as stone, and we might have been dead, if not worse, if that hadn't been there. She's like, from waking up to the present, we faced each moment with a crisis of life. Even in this dangerous world, that's a rare experience. He comments that he thought that it might not have been good there for a second. Like, he wasn't sure if they were gonna make it. Nightmare has a blue face, but also still a complete face. And she's like, is this better if I just give up, ... In the first place, it's not about getting sick on the way. She's like, if that's the case for you, then don't fly at all. And she's like, oh, ... that's right. She's like, it's amazing that we didn't get bloodied and that we came back properly. She tells him tonelessly. He tells her, that's amazing. Yes, because I endured the vomiting and we were able to survive without me letting go of you halfway. And she told him this without any feelings, but Nightmare seems satisfied with her statement. Like a child, he shows a happy smile. Getting angry is going to be ridiculous. She's like, it's also true that the shock of moving has disappeared due to this series of reality slaps. She's like, I'm about to go. I'm going to go see this country. I need to, like, disappear right now. And then she pauses. She's like, ... Will you follow me? Legit, I cried, you guys, when I translated this, because this is so sad. Okay. And she's like, half the expectation, half the understanding is that this would also be impossible for him. Even though this world is convenient, she's like, I always stand alone in the place of being able to choose.
世界は危険で溢れている。だが、君が知りたいことがあるはずだ。
My translations are loading, sorry. He's like, the world is dangerous and overflowing, but you should already know something about that. And he's just like commenting on to please take care of herself because he can't go.
私と一緒にいては見えないこともある。
He tells her you may actually be invisible to me, like when she's not asleep. Because he can only like reach through dreams if she's in a different dimensional wonderland. She's like, ... I don't want to know. She's asking him, so what I want to say is that if I want to return to Clover Country, what happens? She asks him, like, even with that, she's like, there would still be a farewell, because if you've always been in Clover Country, then you won't be able to see Julius and Galland anymore, because they disappeared with the clock tower and the amusement park.
無魔である私だって、所詮は歯車の一つ、数字の一つなんだよ。
He explains like another part of Wonderland here. He's like, even me, the one in charge of being the dreamer, I'm just one of the gears, Alice. He's like, I'm just one of the numbers. So just a roll holder, Alice, is what he's telling her.
進んだり戻ったり、流れの中で泳ぐことしかできない。君も今、同じ流れの中に。
He tells her you can only go forward and back and go with the swim of the flow of time. And he's like, you are in the same flow now to be able to do this, ... He's like, telling her basically that he's not able to do anything. So she says, Nightmare will not be able to take me home. If possible, then you should have proposed this from the beginning. But then she stops and she's like, we can meet again? Nightmare? I just moved. Now that the Clover Tower is gone, I was worried that here we would break up. We can't break up, ...
君が望めばすぐにでも会えるさ。形はどうであろうと、どう違おうとね。
He tells her, oh, well, if you want, I can meet you right away. He's like, it doesn't matter how the shape of Wonderland is. She feels relieved and caught up in his words, but then she's like, what does it mean to have Wonderland be different, like the shape of it? And she thinks, like, meeting in a dream, like in Heart Country? She thinks to herself again that Nightmare is always too warm to her, ... And I'm not sure if I can think about this. She's like, only anxiety will be given from this. And she's like, I can't let it follow me around. The landscape has changed, and if you want answers, you must break up with Nightmare here and move on to get them. She's like, alright, see you. And then she pauses later. He tells her, oh, ... I can meet you right away without worrying. I turned my back to the dreamer and walked in the direction where I could see buildings. I feel loneliness as the scent of aquatic tobacco goes away. However, I feel I should not look back. If you look back, you may not be able to proceed forward. I started running to get away from the turn, which reminded me, you can't go ahead without thinking. And the more you progress, the fewer and fewer mushrooms there will be. She's like, I don't know where the exit is, but finally when I saw the light, my breath was rising. Finally an exit. I want to take a break, but I still feel that I shouldn't stop here. I lost my energy to run though, so I walked towards the exit, step by step, step by step. And the moment that you think that you will pass through the forest, the ground you step on will feel firm. She's like, I was walking all the way through this forest, and the ground should be soil. She's like, but when I look at the scary ground near my feet, it actually seems cloudy for a moment. Is this an optical illusion? There is no room for confirmation. A cold wind from behind blows heavy, and there is cold air that calls around her. She's like, would you like to turn around now? And I chose the left choice, which is turn around. She's like, turning around towards the wind. She freaks out because this is the Joker's prison. Like, suddenly she's there. She's like, there was not a forest there anymore, but a prison. A prison covered with hard, cold walls and iron bars. Looking to the bottom, toys are rolling on the floor. She's like, this should be a forest, ... I wondered when I got lost in such a place. She's like, no, in the first place, why is this here, ... Why do I know, ... this is a prison? Of course, I have never entered a real one, but I know that this is the place that it would be. She's like, but faster than you would think, I actually understand what's going on. This is a prison, a place to confine sinners. And she's like, return your eyes to the top and you see someone there. You, she thinks, ... I saw a person like a guard, dressed like a clown. She's like, that, huh? And someone says, Alice. A memorable voice. He's like, you can't forget about me. I can't forget either. He tells her there's a ship only for you and there's a special one for me too. I feel like I've seen him somewhere. This place and this person. He's like, if you miss it, ... you'll come back soon, Alice. She's like, but I can't remember, and closing my eyes, I shake my head. This is a hallucination, and a hallucination ends. She's like, this world is strange, but it doesn't move between things, and I didn't have that experience. Moving, etc., ... it's dragging me down in various ways, ... I'm in the forest, I don't remember a prison. I don't believe that I have ever met him, ... When I open my eyes gently, the original forest is spread out there. I walk towards the exit of the forest. After leaving the forest, the area was still in the same direction. And even from this position, the buildings seen from the sky are clearly visible. She's like, stationed to Diamond Castle. And then there's also like the cemetery and the museum. Most of the buildings I have never been to or seen. She's like, you cannot see them from the sky. I didn't have to take Nightmare and take a risk, ... She's like, I was almost killed, but thanks to that, this country was burned into my eyes. She's like, But if I don't look around and walk to see where I'm going, where can I go? And it asks you like where you want to go to. And I actually chose to go to the station first because I really, really, really like Boris and Nightmare. And that's where they're working in this world. So we'll go there. People around the station are like, the train will be coming soon, please be careful. She's like, very high ceilings, exclamation mark, dot, dot, dot. I went to the station. The exterior of the station is symmetrical and is a brick building. The interior was vast and more spacious than seen from the outside. There is a central entrance from which you enter the platform. There were quite a few platforms, and the trains went back and forth without any rest. The train is blowing steam vigorously. The station was full of many people. A woman shouts, "Hurry up, we'll be late." And a man says, "It's okay, don't panic so much." The woman replies back, "What are you saying? No, I have a promise to keep." And the man's like, "I understand, I understand." And another man cuts in, he's like, "Nah, would you like to eat something before riding?" She hears another person say, "Yeah?" question mark, until the next one. Someone else cuts in talking about the cafeteria being crowded anyway, and that's just right. She hears "distributed by" in the background. And someone says, "Excuse me, which platform is this flight? This is the ticket." And a station clerk says, "Oh, this one is over here." And she's like, "Too many. Where do you go from to get to like place to place?" This is really a station. I didn't understand the Nightmare's explanation, but ... dot, dot, dot. Rather, it is only said to be a station, because as far as she can see from above, there were no tracks, and I was able to get into the station to see that there was invisible tracks, question mark? She was like, "This train, where are we going?" And she's like, "Trains enter the platform one after another, where a lot of people get off and get on." She's like, "Where did things come that were not visible from outside continue?" She's like freaking out now. She's like, "Maybe this is a dream world." She's like, "I can't, ... dot, dot, dot. When the car leaves the station, it disappears into space. It is swallowed by the covered space that fills it in. And she's like, "In this amount, the incoming train is likely to appear from absolutely nowhere." I think so, and look towards the incoming one. She thinks, after all, this prediction was spot on, ... dot, dot, dot. Because it just appeared out of nowhere. She's like, "A train runs out of a distorted space." She wonders if she has always dreamed something like this, ... dot, dot, dot. She's like, "I decided that I would stay in this world because I had no sense of reality. But maybe this was not a dream." Time is terrible, but if that is the case, I have accepted it, Isn't it the number of terrible, or isn't it that the number of terrible places are increasing? She wonders not only is it the time zone that's fuzzy, but the crustal movement is moving now and that the space is warm. More and more uncertainty increases, and it is far from the reality that she's come to know. She's like, where does the space go to? When the train departed in front of me, it came again, and soon the next train enters too. She's like, with this momentum, it's no wonder that any accidents happen. She's like, Ah, she freaks out. Because there was an accident. It crashed. She's like, it was at this point where I thought an accident would happen that one happens right on the spot. No way. A car and another car collide with each other on opposite platforms. Both of them were just before the stop at the station, so they weren't getting any momentum, but they did derail, and then they partly destroyed the platform. Then a small spark is scattered. There was black smoke and then a fire. The passengers run away from me, and among the people who were at home, there seems to be injured people. Terrible. A big accident. And she hears, oh, it's an accident. And they're like, yeah, it's an accident. And a kid's like, Mama, it's amazing. It's an accident. The mother's like, that's not really, The train we ride is over there, I have to hurry because of the congestion of the dialer now. Or the congestion of the dialer now. And a kid cuts in and is like, but I want to see. They're like, if you want to come to the station, you can see any number of accidents. Although the damage is considerable, the customers here are calm. She hears laughter, like mockingly being done behind her, and then she also hears a statement of also an accident happened, ! He's like, it's not good to laugh, one of the employees. It's hard for station staff to adjust the diamonds, he tells the person. And then this person laughs again. They're like, I'm tired of this happening. Ha ha ha. I believe he was also asking him if he was fed up over it, and the guy replied, if you get bored, you won't get used to it, so it's going to be hard every time. She's like, bored, ? Such big accidents, though. And she's like, that voices. She's like, I was surprised at the accident, and the reaction was delayed, but this characteristic laughter, she's like, only one person I know does that, and it's a cat. She's like, Boris, what are you doing here? Like in the middle of everything, and she's thinking, Boris, Eric, a Cheshire cat. She's like, carefree freedom, a pink cat with the presence of a god. I was surprised, but he wasn't wandering around like he was usually, and she's like, you come and go anywhere. Because there is no doubt you can always go where you want to go, ... He's like, what, do you know me? And she's like, oh? I know, but nothing, ... We've played many times. He's like, question mark. Boris makes a clear face to these words, and she's like, I don't know why he has such a face. She's like, if we play a lot, it seems to be sparse, but we are friends rather than light acquaintances now. And he spent a lot of time together with me in the playground at Heart Country and also in the forest in Clover Country.
ごめんね。あんたは俺のことを知っているかもしれないけど、俺は知らない。
He's like, no, I'm sorry. You may know me, but I don't know ... And she's like, what do you mean? I know you, Boris.
そうだね。あんたは俺を知っている。だけど、今の俺はあんたを知らない。
He's like, yes, you know me, but I don't know you. Saying this like a succession, the Cheshire Cat laughs.
だからさ、改めて自己紹介。 俺はボリス。ボリス・エレイ。チェシャネコだ。
And he's like, that's why I'm introducing myself again. I'm Boris Ere, the Cheshire Cat.
ほら、あんたも名前を教えてよ。
He's like, look, you too, tell me your name. She's like, I can't keep up, but I was told to introduce myself, and then you can't afford to avoid doing it. She tells him Alice Little.
かわいい名前だね。改めてよろしく。
He tells her, Alice, yeah, that's a cute name. She's like, nice to meet you. ...
私は失礼しますね。
The station clerk cuts in and he's like, ... sorry. She's like, it's going to be over fast. Yes, Boris was talking to him, a station employee. Oh, I'm sorry about the accident.
いえ、大した話ではありませんでしたから。
He's like, yes, no, it wasn't a big deal, he tells her, ... or to Boris. And she's like, you were talking about an accident, ... accidents aren't a big deal.
ああ、じゃあまたね。この子面白そうだから、俺こっちと話す。
Boris is like, okay, well then we'll see you later. This child looks interesting, so I'll talk to you later, he tells the station employee, ...
ええ、また。
And the station employee's like, yes, see you again. He says this lightly and the station staff leaves. She's like, I tried to apologize to him, but I didn't really want him to refrain from going. She's like, because I met Boris, ... She's like, I understand that Boris is here with me. And she's like, even if you don't know me, ... However, even if I asked this like more than once, she's like, I felt the answer was not returned. Just like the riddles that Boris likes, it will just repeat a word game with him. She's like, if I asked him directly.
あんたってさ、よそ者だよね。
So he asks her, you are ... an outsider? She's like, what? Yes, I am.
面白いな。珍しい。
He's like, you're funny. It's unusual, ... She comments that he seems to be amused after knowing that she's in trouble, about being forgotten and also shocked. It is the eyes of someone observing happily, looking at an unusual tool. Like the nightmare, it's warm and doesn't tell me anything that is clear. A very unfriendly and dishonest cat, ... She's like, yeah, that's right. I was right at the beginning, ... It was a disgusting cat that made fun of me. From when we will be able to play together on an equal basis. She's wondering when she'll get back the relationship she had with him. She's like, worry or encouraging me, like it was neither. Instead of looking down, though, on her, he crouched and matched his eyes to mine. So, like, either out of worry or trying to encourage her, he did that. And she's like, from when did he ... She's like, there was no big incident here, and slowly in a crazy world, there was certainly a passage of time done with him, so she's like, we've gotten close. She's like, this strange thing made me realize it, ... What has been built over time? This relationship with great size that she had built with him. She's like, it looks like it had disappeared. She's sad, ... She's like, I remember then that an accident happened, and then turns the words back to, like, the opposite of what she was thinking of. She's like, but as if there was no accidents on the same track, the train is starting to come and have, like, some people going on it as if nothing had ever happened. So she's noticing that, like, everything's been basically wiped clean as if it hadn't occurred. And she's like, that there was an accident the other day. Or, like, today. And she's like, I'm surprised to know that this is the way this world works. Even if there's such large-scale breakage, it is something that can be repaired so, like, capriciously.
ああ、起きていたね。すごい衝撃だった。あんな事故がしょっちゅう起きているんだぜ。賑やかだろ?
He's like, oh, it woke me up. It was a great shock. Such accidents are happening all the time, though. He's like, accidents happen all the time. ... She thinks it's like an amusement park event, then. Like an amusement park event in the heart country, she thinks to herself.
うまい例えだね。まさしくそんな感じだ。
He tells her that that's a good parable. It's exactly like it.
つまらない日常のスパイスってやつ。でも変わり映えしないとだんだん飽きてくるかな。
He tells her that this everyday space is boring, and he's like, if you don't shine, you'll get bored. She thinks it's not like getting bored. You should be more prepared to eliminate accidents instead.
そうだね。ダイヤ調整とか工夫すればいいのに。機械いじりが好きな俺に任せてくれればもっとやりようがあるのに。
He's like, that's right. I just need to devise a diamond adjustment. If I leave it to those who like machine mess, I'll have more work to do later, ... 猫
に任せないなんて、度胸がないっていうか、頼りないべきだぜ。
He says, well, I can't leave it to the chance drawing of who would actually attend it. Saying this, Boris heads to one of the pillars of the home station. A pillar that is equipped with something like a tool case. Boris opened it without a key, although it couldn't be opened by anyone other than those involved here. She's like, oh, Little, are you okay?
いいんだよ。悪ければ開かないだろ。
He's like, it's good. If it's bad, it won't happen. Or it won't open, so this happens. And she's like, that's... ... I don't want you to open it.
いいのいいの。ダメなら開かない。そういうものだって。
He repeats, though, it's good too. And then he's like, it's not good if it won't open. She's like, Boris is too proud and descended from the platform to the railway. She's like, Boris? She's like, I'll go. As he walks down the street, she's like, that's new. Yeah, like his clothes. The clothes of Boris have been changed to work clothes. He's dressed like a station worker now. Still, the color is stubbornly pink. This world is still unreasonable, she thinks. ... Ha! She's like, it's useless to think about common sense in an unreasonable world. I got down on the track and chased Boris. The train will not come... She's like, he looked back at me as he walked along the track. Naturally, this is the first time I walked on a railway track. There are iron rails and wiring, which I don't know well, but it's harder to walk than I think. And she's like, still, it was because Boris was waiting for me, and she's like, I'm grateful.
手伝わせてはくれても任せてはくれないんだよな。列車の整備とか改造。
He's like, I'll let you help, but leave it to me, train security or remodeling. And she's like, at this time, I'm helping you because you're too unreliable.
だろ? いっそ任せてくれればいいのにさ。
He's like, well, I wish you'd leave it to me. She's like, or you know, I'm just going to help you. I'm going to ask you a question. If I leave it to you, ... The train is definitely at a loss. It's going to fall.
あ、それは面白そう。任されたらやってみるよ。
He's like, oh, well, this looks interesting. She's like, you don't have to. You don't do it.
とは言っても、これだけ記者の数が多ければ事故も起きるよ。仕方ない。
Because he was messing with something, and he tells her, however, if there are so many trains, of course there will be an accident! ! She's like, would you stop? ... And she's like, isn't it better to maintain or like improve upon these things to prevent accidents? When you think that you can't help it, don't touch it. She's like, don't break it further.
失敗したらやり直せばいいよ。前向きに前向きに。
He tells her if you fail, you can start over. Proactively, positively. What is a positive and responsible job? Like, this is not it. You must not be involved with such a lack of serious feeling.
あんた課題な。責任なんかないって。
He's like, well, you're hard. You have such responsibility.
事故が起きてもすぐに修復されるんだよ。便利だよね。まあ、たまたまそれに乗り合わせたら悲惨だけど。
He tells her that if an accident happens, it'll be repaired right away. It's convenient. Well, if you happen to ride it, then it'll be miserable, though. Because he's like, you die. She's like, I'm sorry for the foreseeable misery that I see, ... Basically.
そうかもね。沖縄だ。
He's like, yes, sorry. Light tone, this lightness that isn't evil or bad, even though it's clear he doesn't think about the life of a partner of whom he can't see their face. The faceless don't matter here to them. So they're just like nothing if they die. For people like him. And she's like, don't you think about the person in the accident? ...
最低ってあんたは考えるの？変わってるね。
He comments that they're the lowest... So what are you thinking? And she's like, oh yes, it was always like this... She's like, it has never been so... And she's like, yes, the lowest... She's like, I am the one actually has changed more than anyone. No matter how miserable, no matter how many people think it, dozens of people are dead every day. The memory of the friend in front of me was prioritized over the fact that it cannot be reset. And she's like, it doesn't work that way for other people. For her, it can't be reset, but for them, like, they don't form attachments, and so everyone just can start over from zero again when their clock is fixed after they die. She's like, the bare minimum.
そんな連呼しなくても数えきれないくらい見ていればあんたもだんだん感覚が麻痺してくるって。
Boris is like, even if you scold me like that, if you're watching countless numbers, you'd be feeling the same more and more. Like numbers of accidents, I'm assuming is what he means here. She's like, if the accidents are going to be unbelievable, then it should be scrapped rather than just like them reviewing diamonds and equipment. How sloppy is this railway management company, she wonders. I'd like to see the station master's face here. She's like, ... I'm sorry I'm not lazy like him. She's got that exasperated face. Boris walked along the track for a while and stopped in front of the stopped train. He bends and takes out the tools out of the toolbox, and she's like, I started to mess around with the wheels. She thinks to herself, I'm really helping you.